Good morning, everybody. Let's take a look at the Mag 7 stocks, the Magnificent Seven, and we're going to take a look at it from three rounded approaches that I use, very well rounded approaches. We're going to use the moving average channel on a few time frames, and then we're going to use the valuation method, which is my easiest and by far and the way possibly my favorite strategy, my valuation method. And then we're going to just take a look at some higher time frame divergences. Okay, what we're going to find is overall these markets are beautiful opportunities to buy if the market dips to certain levels. And the lowest time frame I'm going to look at for my points of interest is the weekly. So I understand for some people that is pretty high time frame. Some people might consider that an investment time frame. However, this is how I trade, and that's as low as I'm going to go. For entries, you'll see as low as I'll go as 6 hours. But anyways, let's get on to it and on with it. So here we go. Apple. So Apple is a bullish chart right now. Still would be looking to buy these dips. So basically we're having two consecutive closes above the high of the moving average channel, and the Williams accumulation distribution index is above its 57 period moving average. That means any dip down into the low of the MAC or below it is a place that I can look for buy setups on my entry time frame. So what does that mean? It means that if on this time frame, the weekly, if we get a pullback into 221.12, that is an area I would want to buy. If I go up to the monthly, we see the same thing. Still a very bullish chart. From a monthly perspective, any pullback into 192.12 would be a great opportunity to buy from a monthly perspective. Okay. And then on the quarterly chart, still very bullish. If we pull back into 170.89, that'd be a good place for me to look for entries on my entry time frame. Okay. So very bullish on Apple on the moving average channel, multiple time frames that I use. Here's the valuation method. So we see the red and the green line are sloped up and away from each other. This is a strong weekly uptrend. So if we get a pullback and we go under valued versus gold and or treasuries and oversold at the same time on the stochastic, that's an area I want to buy. Here's the last time it happened. Strong uptrend, undervalued versus gold and treasuries and oversold, great time to buy. Here it happened back here. We dipped into undervalued versus treasuries. We were oversold. Great time to buy. Okay, so that's not set up right now, but that's what we got to watch. Now on the divergence front, we do have some major higher time frame being quarterly and monthly divergences that are set up but not triggered. So to be clear, these are not triggered. The trigger which would confirm this divergence would be closing below these black lines on these oscillators. So got to watch out for that. All right, now let's move on to NVIDIA. Wow, what a chart. Okay, so what do we see here? NVIDIA is still bullish. We have not had two consecutive closes below the low of the MAC, and the 57 and the Williams accumulation distribution index is still trading well above its 57 period moving average. In other words, any pullback into the low of this MAC is an opportunity to look for entries on your entry time frame. Here we see it happened back in early September, traded into the low of the MAC. First target was up there, and then with a profit maximizing strategy, we would have a runner left for capturing a bigger move. So what this means is any pullback on NVIDIA back into 114.78 area or below is an opportunity to buy and look for entries on the entry time frame. On the monthly time frame, still extremely bullish. I would consider purchasing or looking to long NVIDIA at 94.70 if we get an entry confirmation on the entry time frame for the monthly. And on the quarterly, goes without saying, still extremely bullish. Any pullback in 56.07. Now that sounds crazy because that is a massive pullback of 58, 59% from current prices. So I understand that's not technically that doesn't sound bullish because that's a huge pullback. But from this time frame's perspective, if it traded into that, and that would take a long time to get there in any normal situation, that would be a good area to look to buy. So from these three time frame perspectives, these are the areas I'm looking to trade NVIDIA. Now on the valuation with trend, we see we're in a strong uptrend, which is obvious, And right now, interestingly, we're still a little undervalued versus treasuries and gold. So you won't find any oscillator like this Williams valuation oscillator. No stochastic or oscillator is going to tell you something is oversold when you're at the top of an up move of going up. Whereas this is telling us relative to price of gold and treasuries that NVIDIA is actually undervalued. The problem is we don't have this all the ingredients of this trade are not there. In other words, we are not oversold on the stochastic. We can see we were oversold on the stochastic right here while being undervalued versus gold and treasuries. Well, that was a beautiful place to buy, wasn't it? Happened back here as well. We went oversold on the stochastic, undervalued versus treasuries and gold. Well, that was a wonderful place to buy. So basically what I'm watching for is for this market to pull back, get oversold on the stochastic, stay undervalued versus gold and treasuries, and that will be a wonderful time to buy NVIDIA. And then just looking at divergences, well, on the quarterly, tough to see anything. Monthly, let's see. We do have a divergence happening here. So I'm going to draw it out for you here. Okay, price making a slightly higher high, while the detrended price oscillator, which is this green one down here, is not making a higher high, making a lower high. Okay, so what that means is in 13 days and 8 hours, when this monthly candle closes, it's possible that this oscillator will have put in a low point and close somewhere up here. At that point, I will mark out that low, and then that is the low that would have to get closed beyond on the oscillator to confirm this divergence. So we do have to watch that. That's not tradable right now. That's just something to keep an eye on because high time frame divergences have major implications. All right, let's keep going. Microsoft. So Microsoft is currently still bullish. So one thing to point out, it is set up for shorts, but not triggered for shorts. And I'll tell you why. We had 2 consecutive closes below the low of the MAC. That's the setup. Now, what triggers us into a bearish market regime with this moving average channel strategy is the Williams Accumulation Distribution Index needs to close below its 57 period moving average. That has not happened yet. So what that means is any dip into the low of the MAC is an opportunity to buy, with the first target being the high of the MAC. So what we see here on Google is that we've actually this week dipped down into this low of the MAC, and we had some divergence shaping up here with on the entry time frame 6 hour made a lower low, while the momentum indicator made a higher low, as well as the MACD. Now, did it trigger? Not yet. You'll see but that's those black lines. If it does close above that, that's a trigger. First target would be up here. So dips into this area are for buying. So Microsoft relatively in a buy zone based on the weekly chart. On a monthly chart, we are in a bullish trend again. Any dip down into the 399.05 area is a reasonable place to look for entries on the entry time frame. And then from a quarterly perspective, any dip down to 332.96 would be where I'd be looking to do business on Microsoft. Microsoft on a trend with valuation strategy, we can see that we're actually getting close to a setup. All the ingredients we need for this setup. So strong uptrend. We are undervalued versus treasuries and gold. And what's this? We're just waiting for this stochastic to dip into oversold territory. So if we did get some sort of further sell-off and this did get oversold and we stay undervalued versus gold and treasuries, in my opinion, this is a great opportunity to buy Microsoft. And then from a perspective of divergence, Microsoft has divergences like most of these charts do. Now, one thing that's very interesting about Microsoft is we had a divergence actually trigger bearish divergence on the DPO, the detrended price oscillator, which is this green line. So we can see here, price made higher highs. The detrended price oscillator made lower highs, and then it confirmed here at the close of, what was it? So 42.02. At the close of the July candle, it confirmed. So the first target for Microsoft on the divergence front is about a closer to closer to 20% drop from here is the first target, which is the middle of this little box. So something to be aware of on Microsoft is that there's been a pretty major bearish trigger on a high time frame monthly divergence. So if you're trading to the long side, that makes things maybe a little less comfy for you because that's not ideal. Okay, so then moving on, Google. Excuse me. Google is the only one of the Mag 7 charts that is actually in a bearish weekly market trend. And I'll show you what I mean. We had 2 consecutive closes below the low of the MAC. We also had the Williams Accumulation Distribution Index close below its 57-period moving average. So what that means is anytime price is trading into the high of the MAC, which it did the last 3 weeks, this is an area to sell, with the target being the low of the MAC. Being the first target. So what we see here is that we actually had a 6-hour divergence trigger right here for a short on Google, and the first target is the low of the MAC right down there at around 159.08. 158.99 is exactly where it is right now. So on Google, basically right now, bearish on the weekly. On the monthly, though, we are still bullish. Any dips down into the 156.47 are reasonable areas to look to long the Google stock. And then quarterly, still very bullish, but it would need a dip to 127.15 for me to get involved on this time frame. Okay, on Google, uptrend, dipping into undervalued. Right now, we're undervalued versus gold and just about undervalued versus treasuries. Similar to Microsoft, we're not oversold yet. So what we need to see in order for this trade to trigger is for us to dip down in here. You can just look back in time, see how well this strategy works. Undervalued versus gold and treasuries with the oversold on the stochastic. Well, that's the bottom, folks. This is honestly, if you want to pick one of my strategies to focus on, that's the easiest and most consistent. This is it. This is the one. Then looking at divergences for Google, we do, like all these other Mag 7 stocks, have quarterly divergence that is set up but not confirmed. On the bearish side, this is bearish divergence. And monthly, same thing. So we do need to watch the divergences on Google, but they're nothing to worry about right now. On Amazon, weekly, still bullish. Nothing to do here right now until price trades down to 178.75, which is the low of the MAC. That's where I'd look for entries. Excuse me. On the monthly, bullish as well. Dips to 170.93 is where I'd be looking for entries. And Amazon on the quarterly chart, still very bullish, but dips to the 132.84 region would be where I would look to go long. Okay, so that is it for Amazon on that method. Amazon valuation with trend, we can see we're just about getting undervalued versus gold and treasury. So we need to watch this, see if this dips into here and then the oversold. If that does happen, in my opinion, a good opportunity to buy Amazon. Oops, sorry. And then Amazon on the divergence front, just like the other charts, we have bearish divergence set up but not triggered. Okay, so then on to Meta. Meta, wow, this stock's been doing incredible as well. Weekly chart. Here we go. I got to wrap this up. I think this video is going to end soon on me automatically. So Meta, bullish. I'd like to buy around 537.29 on the weekly chart. Monthly, bullish. I'd like to buy around 467.95. Quarterly, bullish. I'd like to buy around 331.14. Moving on. Strong uptrend. We are actually undervalued versus gold. This is a crazy thing about this indicator. We're undervalued when we're on a big up move, which is crazy. So what we need to see now is that we need this thing to dip, have a major dip, and get oversold on the stochastic, and that will be the opportunity to load up on Meta stock. And then from a divergence perspective, we can see that there is divergence down here on the commodity channel index, but nothing confirmed. Okay. And lastly, Tesla. Tesla, I'm overall bullish on into last year's high based on my price action strategy, which I'm not reviewing here. It is a video on my channel, though, if you're curious. So on the weekly, we are bullish still. Even though it is setting up for shorts, we have not had 2 consecutive closes below the low of the MAC. What that means is right now where Tesla is a great place to long if we do get a buy trigger on our entry time frame and to trade up to the high, which is 237.97. So Tesla is actually in a good area to buy right now. If we look at the monthly remains bearish. So what that means is when it's up in the high of this MAC, it's actually a good place to short down to the low, which is to 180.90. So that's a short. It's in an area for shorts if this is your time frame for trading. this stock. And then this is a bullish quarterly chart. So any dips down to 169.46 are good opportunities to buy. I'm going to update my Tesla trade strategy this weekend based on the weekly candle close here when it closes in a few hours. And you'll be able to see how I'm approaching Tesla with my price action strategy, which I'll have that on my channel this week. Here we go. Valuation, there is no trend, so there is no trade. This is just a sideways market. This strategy does not work when the market looks like this, so we don't even look at that. And then Tesla here on the quarterly chart, we do have a few divergences setting up but not confirmed. So you do need to watch these divergences, but nothing has confirmed. So that's it. That's the Mag 7 stocks. Overall, everything is pretty darn bullish. If you get pullbacks, I think these pullbacks are not to be feared. I think they're golden opportunities to buy if you do get the entry triggers on the entry timeframes. If you have questions about how I've analyzed these charts, I've reviewed 3 of my 4 strategies here looking at these markets. We've looked at the moving average channel, valuation with trend, and we've looked at divergences. So if you have questions, shoot me a message. If you genuinely like this video, please subscribe and like it. Feel free to share it. And if you have questions, again, reach out. I'm happy to chat. I hope you guys have a great week. I guess weekend. All right. Thanks.